Why? What is going on, everybody? My name's Kieran Hannon. Today we are reviewing the brand new Nicki Minaj album, Queen. Fourth album by American rapper Nicki Minaj, and it is her first album since 2014's The Pink Print. So, with a 4-year layoff and have apparently been recording this album since December of 2016, the question is, has Nicki dropped anything of substance on this album? There's absolutely zero denying that Nicki Minaj has had a stronghold on the rap game for many, many years now. Really first gained prominence for me when she featured on that Lonely Island song, The Creep, so many years ago. And to be honest, she hasn't really dropped off in relevancy since then, but with the amount of new female rap artists coming and gunning for Nicki's throne, surely she's going to drop something new, something powerful or impactful on this album. At least that's what you hope going into the record. The release schedule for this album was also all over the place, with the album being pushed back a whole bunch of times and then released a week early, as well as the fact that after the album had already released, she added a song to it, that being the previously released Tekashi 6ix9ine single, Fifi. Of course, going into the album, I wasn't expecting much, but was pleasantly surprised by the opening track, Ganja Burn. There is this really nice acoustic guitar lick laced all over the track that gives this really nice aesthetic. There's something much more mellow, much more impactful than I thought I was going to get. Her second verse is also really great, where she's just basically putting people on blast for doing things and thinking that they're the shit for doing them, like you made a lot of stacks and you think you're Andre. It's really nice as well to see Nicki Minaj giving props to so many people, so many talented artists like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Andre 3000, Kanye West and DMX. And despite having previously taken criticism for potentially using ghostwriters, she also puts rappers on blast for using ghostwriters, saying that she wrote every rap she spit. Now, whether or not that is true, that isn't really the point, but people have alleged that these are knocks at Cardi B, and that even can't be confirmed or denied. But let's be honest, as nice as it is to see Nicki taking shots at people, this is fairly tame. She's not exactly Pusha T, Drake levels of beef, and the early goings at least. That being said, I really had high hopes after listening to the first song, at least higher hopes than going into the album. I was hoping for more acoustic kind of instrumentals, and I was hoping for Nicki to just put some people on blast and kind of show her funny side, which people know is there. The second track, Majesty, features Labyrinth and Eminem. Labyrinth, of course, having just released a bunch of singles with Sia and Diplo, and Eminem really still on a kind of comeback from his album that dropped late last year. I actually really enjoyed the Labyrinth feature on this track as well. My hopes were really high right at the start of the song. Labyrinth starts singing, it just sounds great. He's used sparingly enough in the track that you just kind of want more of him by the end of it, because Nicki Minaj doesn't exactly do anything interesting with the track, and Eminem kind of feels formulaic at this point, despite being a good verse. Despite Eminem having a couple of good verses this year, it's starting to kind of feel repetitive. Eminem also raps on this track about how he's the king and Nicki Minaj is the queen, and it kind of feels like he's just being forced to put her on a pedestal. Labyrinth is kind of doing that with his chorus as well, where he's saying, you know, whatever for you, your majesty, but it doesn't feel forced, whereas it's just so out of character for Eminem that it just doesn't feel right in the end. When it comes to Nicki's parts in the verse, she basically just flexes and stunts on people over this really droning beat. It's nothing we haven't heard before, it is nothing interesting, and I feel like at least Eminem and Labyrinth were doing something kind of unique. Eminem, yes, kind of getting repetitive, but he's chopping all over the beat. It's not something that a lot of people do. It's just Eminem and his chopper verses are kind of just becoming commonplace. But the ending of this song has Nicki Minaj speaking in this really strange, slow, painful high voice, where she's basically talking like this, and by the end of it, you're just sick of it, and she's ruined what was for me, one of the stronger songs on the album. You're just glad it's over by the end, which is never a good sign when it's one of the strongest tracks and you're glad it's over. The song Barbie Dreams has Nicki Minaj paying homage to the notorious B.I.G., where on a cut of his, he basically said he wanted to fuck all of these female R&B artists, but it was all in fun, it was all in jest. Nicki Minaj does the same thing, talking about every prominent athlete and artist that has tried to fuck Nicki Minaj, basically. Some of the lines she comes up with here, though, are actually clever. They're actually fun. It's a fun track to listen to. She says things that are straight up mean, but you never feel like it's mean-spirited. It feels like a roast, basically, where it is all in good fun. I particularly enjoy the line she dropped on DJ Khaled, where she says, "Ain't no fat guy gonna tell me what he ain't eating." She also gives Designer a shout out for passing special ed. We get to the fourth track, Rich Sex, featuring Lil Wayne, and oh my god, it's awful. It's terrible. There isn't really that many offensively bad cuts on the album, but this is certainly one of them. This is every awful Nicki Minaj song I have heard before, just multiplied by 1,000. Nicki Minaj dropping this stupidly repetitive, we've heard it so many times before, verse about how she's fucking rich guys. She won't fuck poor guys, she'll fuck rich guys. And how do you get invested in an artist who basically has just been making that song for like 10 years? I don't know. Then we get this Lil Wayne feature where he sounds like he's dying. He is falling into himself with his words, slurring them. It's just so incohesive. You can't make out what he's saying. And yeah, not every artist I like. You understand every word you're saying. I don't understand every word coming from a Death Grip song, but there's interesting things happening around it. There is nothing to hold up Lil Wayne on this track, and he just ends up floundering in his own verse. It's really nice to see that Lil Wayne is pretty much the same guy he's been from the 2000s, because from reading the lyrics, it's basically just every other misogynistic rap song that came out in the 2000s. Not that you can't make a misogynistic rap song, to be honest, because I've heard ones that I've enjoyed, but this is just tactless, it's classless, it's boring, and it's everything I heard 10 years ago that I was sick of in 2018. So we go from that hyper-sexualized, just blunt and to the point song, where we go from that to the song Bed featuring Ariana Grande. And while the song relates to a similar topic, it is a song about sex and fucking someone in a bed. Ariana Grande drops this hilariously childish and hokey line where she says, "I've got a kiss with your name on it." It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't just so horribly out of place. This belongs in a nursery rhyme, not a Nicki Minaj album. This Ariana Grande feature, like a lot of the features on the album, offers nothing. Offers nothing sonically, it offers nothing lyrically. I feel like, to be honest, the features are one of the worst parts of this album. Nicki Minaj on her own does better. If you would cut out all of the songs with prominent features, I think you would have had a better record. She is probably the strongest performer on the album, and the song Bed is just a perfect example of an artist with talent. Ariana Grande's got talent, she's got pipes, she can sing, but she's not doing it here. No. And honestly, I can't say much about a lot of these songs, so I'm just skipping forward to the song Chun-Li, where it sounds like Nicki is going to redeem it. The beat's a real toe tapper. She serves the beat well, rapping about how basically, you know, she was the first female to come out and do all of this shit. Like, she is the first female to dominate the rap game. And to be honest, that isn't without merit. She probably is the first female to stand on top of the rap game for so long. Obviously not the first rapper, not the most talented female rapper, but to deny her credibility as someone who has stood atop the genre for so long in an industry where it doesn't feel like women do stay on the top for all that long at all, she has had the staying power, so she could definitely get credit for that. And then after that song, I'm pretty sure everything else is skippable. And this is like midway point through the album. You know, you cut off songs like LLC, you cut off Nip Tuck, you cut off Miami, songs like that. You have a way better album. But I honestly feel like there was at least 10 songs too many on this record. This record is twice as long as it needs to be. It really feels like Nicki is trying to please everyone with this album, and instead of making a great album for some people, she made an okay album for everyone. Because I can appreciate moments on this, I can appreciate songs on this, and Nicki Minaj clearly has an abundance of talent that is being poorly used, with poor production and a lot of the times poor songwriting, but that is made up for. There is interesting production, interesting songwriting towards the start of the record. I feel like there are songs in this album that will stand out in Nicki's catalogue, and songs that you'll be hearing on the radio and that people will remember in years to come, but I feel like as a project, with all of the people gunning for Nicki's head, she didn't deliver, and I don't always feel like it was her fault. I do honestly think that the features are the worst part of the album, as well as it just being way too long. There is not an hour and 6 minutes of content on this album. There is 30 to 40. I can't sum it up better than there are songs that will stick, but the whole album is a drag. I am feeling a 4 out of 10 for Nicki Minaj's Queen. So, what did you think of the review? I know it's pretty short, but to be honest, I just didn't feel like I had a lot to say about the album, and there's no point in dragging out a review to 10 or 15 minutes and going through every song. I mean, some albums that make sense, but not on this one. Too many of them are doing the same thing, and what they're doing is just so uninteresting. I didn't feel like I wanted to talk about them. That being said, what do you guys want me to review next? Comment. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, you can like this video, you can dislike it if you didn't like the video, you can subscribe, and please, 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 if you have any thoughts, any constructive criticism, please comment it, and let me know what you think I'm doing right and what you think I'm doing wrong. Other than that, I will see you, if I see you, in my next review. Peace.